What's going on, Lego Maniacs? It's Ty, the Lego guy here, and welcome to another Ty's Talks. We're in episode 16, which is crazy. We're moving right along. This one had a lot of good questions, like what was my favorite year of the Lego Golden Age, along with what's my opinion on Jack Stone, a number of other really good ones. You guys really had a lot of good questions in this one. And again, if you guys have questions for next Ty's Talks, just leave them in the comments and we'll get to them in episode 17. But enough talk, let's get right into it. And our first question comes to us from Strange Hermit Crab, and he asks, what is your favorite year of the Lego Golden Age, 1978 to 1996? So this is a really good question. I think 1995 is going to be my favorite year from that period, just because we had pirates, we had castle, we had space, when space was really, really good, like was M-Tron, well, we had Spirus, Unitron, so many good themes were in that time period. Oh, we had Ice Planet 2002, like there was a lot going for 1995. We also had Islanders, like sub-themes off of Pirates. So all in all, I'd have to choose 1995. That definitely, I think, is my favorite year out of that time period. And our next question comes to us from Builder Bro, and he asks, what's your opinion on the Lego theme Jack Stone? So, okay, if you guys know Sans, he loves Jack Stone. He thinks they're fantastic, or that theme's fantastic. For me, I'm really not into the big Lego minifig, just not a fan. I'm kind of like a Lego minifig purist. I don't like mini dolls either, any of that jazz. So that's the main reason why I don't like Jack Stone. As far as the builds go, I don't know the builds all that well. They kind of look kiddish to me, but you never know. Maybe I should buy a set and review it, but I don't personally like Jack Stone, but let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that, if you like it or if you don't. It's just not my thing. And our next question comes to us from Arc Trooper Broxy, and he asks, favorite Disney set? So this is a good one. Out of the Disney sets, I think that they have a lot of potential. Like some of the stuff that they could make for Disney would be great, especially if they ever did like Pocahontas or something like that. But the set that I'd probably choose would be the Disney Castle. I just think that that set looks really good. I don't think I'll ever pick it up just because it is expensive, but yeah, that's a pretty good model. I'd like one of these days, maybe I'll get it, we'll see. But yeah, that probably takes the cake. And our next question comes to us from AM Productions, and he asks, Marvel or DC, and which Lego theme do you like more? And which is your favorite buildable character? Okay, so I'm probably gonna go with DC. I love the Batmobile, I love the Batwing. I think those are both phenomenal sets, and I'm really hoping to get my hands on those two soon, because I do believe the Batmobile at least is going to be retiring soon. And as far as your other question goes, favorite buildable character, I'd probably go with Grogu. Although the Imperial Probe Droid is coming out, and I think that that will be phenomenal. I've been wanting that set for years, so Grogu for now, but it may change. And our next question comes to us from Jawa, and he asks, would you consider making a Siege of Mandalore mock with all of the new sets coming, like the Maul, Duel, and Mandalorian Starfighter? And to answer your question, Jawa, yeah, I take it into consideration. I mean, the only thing is I know that that's been made on a grand scale already, so whatever I could put out probably is not going to be that good. Although I really do like that episode, or that arc, I should say, because it was a couple episodes. Yeah, I'd probably consider it. I don't know if I'd ever do it, but yeah, that would be definitely a strong contender. I think that will be really interesting, and I cannot wait for those new sets. And our next question comes to us from Billy Joe Bob 09. He asks, okay, very important follow-up question. What's your AE2 Elo? Love that game too. Okay, so my Elo is anywhere from basically 1200 in that ballpark. I'm really hoping to go pro, but I have another 800 Elo to go, and yeah, we'll see. Little by little I'm improving, but yeah, that's my Elo. And our next question comes to us from Iron Andrew, and he asks, what is your least favorite Lego theme set? So this is a good one. For least favorite set, I think it's Nick from the Galador theme, that set 4040. That is just awful. I cannot believe Lego thought that was a good idea to bring out. And my least favorite Lego theme is probably Galador or Fabuland. I don't like either of those. And Animals, just the way they did Fabuland was just, I don't know, it was off. Those two are strong contenders. I mean, as much as you guys brought up Jack Stone is actually way better than those two themes. But yeah, it's a fight between Fabuland and Galador. And our next question comes to us from Zarar, and he asks, favorite TV show excluding sitcoms. So I think that's funny. He knew I'd choose The Office. Breaking Bad, Gotham, and those two are probably, maybe Battlestar Galactica. Although no, I still think Gotham and Breaking Bad, it's a fight between those two. Really not sure who wins, but yeah, both those two TV shows are awesome if you guys are looking for something to binge watch. And our next question comes to us from Ninja Aussie. And his question is, what set do you regret buying? I don't really have a set that I regret buying, but I do have a set I regret not buying. I have a little bit of a story with this. When I was a really little dude, and my dad took me to Toys R Us, and there was the Unitron monorail. That's set 6991, if I got that right. It was on shelves. I couldn't make up my mind of what set I wanted out of all these awesome sets. And anyways, the set I ended up getting was a Mega Block set because I was taking too long, and my dad's like, you know what, we'll just buy this. So I could have got the Space Monorail, and I didn't end up getting it. So that was probably the most set I regret not buying. I know it's not exactly your question, but that's one of my worst Lego memories ever. And our next question comes to us from LASIK, and he asks, of the classic pirate ships, I like the set 6250 the least. The color combination doesn't fit together. What do you think about that set, Ty? What's interesting, actually, I do actually like that set. I still think that a lot of 90s pirate sets were actually pretty good, but I do agree with you on the color scheme. It is a little off. It's just, we've got so little, we've got good sets, but just the 90s and 80s pirate sets were just on a whole nother caliber generally. So even a bad set from the 90s is still a decent set nowadays. So I don't think the color combination's great, but I still quite like that model. And our next question comes to us from Brickmaster, and he asks, if you had to pick one Star Wars vehicle or place that was never made into a set, what would it be? So to answer that, I'd probably choose the Geonosius Arena. That would be phenomenal. I've been pushing for that set for years. I'd love to get it. Maybe eventually we'll make a movement on it. That or a Venator, a UCS style Venator. And his next question was, since Mtron, UFO, and RoboForce never got their own base set, which one would you have had won the most and why? I'd probably go with the UFO. I think that they have the best potential basically to make a really good base set. And that would be probably the theme I go with, as much as those other two would probably be pretty cool. And our next question comes to us from Diesel, and he asked, do you play AoE 3 as well? And the answer is yes, just not as much as I play AoE 2. And our next question comes to us from Karmalink, and he asks, if you could design a mock under 1,000 pieces to be sold in stores, what non-licensed theme would you base it off of? I had to think about this. I'm going to go with Adventurers or Wild West. Those are two themes that I think are phenomenal, and Lego hasn't given much love to them in years. So those would be the top two contenders. There's other ideas that I had, but I'm thinking definitely going with those two themes. And our next question comes to us from Quest, and he asks, are you going to review Mos Eisley Cantina? I am most definitely going to review Mos Eisley Cantina. I just have to pull the trigger and buy it. And our next question comes to us again from Zarar, and he asks, what's one set you hated but came around to liking? Okay, I don't really have a set that I hated and came around to liking. Probably the First Order ATST, I really don't like that set, and I still don't. But probably the Adventures Research Station, that's from the Dino sub-theme. That set I used to think was really bad, but then I actually bought it because Jonas, a friend of mine, he recommended, buy this set, you'll like it. I ended up buying it, and it's a great set. So that's probably one of the sets that I didn't really like, and yeah, it's grown on me. It's actually a pretty good set. And our next question comes to us from Vincent, and he asks, who is your favorite Lego YouTuber? I went back and forth with this. I'm probably gonna go with M&R Productions, although there's a number of other contenders that are out there, but I'll probably go with him. He's probably the most YouTuber that does Lego that I watch the most. So yeah, Ryan, if you're watching this, you get the go ahead, check him out. And our next question comes to us from Resik, and he actually has a number. He asks, which is your favorite Lego pirate ship? Which was your first Lego pirate ship, and what was your worst Lego set? So my favorite pirate ship is the Imperial flagship. My first pirate ship was Brickbeard's Bounty, and my least favorite Lego set that I own is probably the First Order ATST. I still have that thing built, sealed, And one of these days, maybe I'll build it. But yeah, that definitely is my least favorite set in my collection. And our next number of questions comes to us from Reed. And he asks, weird fetishes and phobias you have, favorite superhero. If you were a set builder designer for Lego, what set would you make for the public and how big would it be? Okay, so good questions. Your first one, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, so that's one of my germaphobias, or phobias I should say. As far as my favorite superhero, it's definitely Batman. And a set that I'd like to give to the public would probably be something based off of like ancient Egypt or Rome or Greece. Like if they gave us like a pyramid set with maybe like an updated Temple of Anubis with like Egyptians and stuff like that, I think that'd be fantastic. Or maybe, yeah, just something like that. Or like, and then you had like, you know, little boats going along the Nile. I think that would be a really cool set. Maybe even like a Romans versus Egyptians, and there's like, you know, a whole Egyptian background. I think that that would be a really cool set. That would be probably something that I would give to the public. The Colosseum's really good, although it's set in the modern day. Even a Colosseum that you made back in the past and had like a chariot race going on in the middle of it would be great. But yeah, that pretty well does this Ties Talks. And again, guys, if you have questions for next Ties Talks, just leave them in the comments and we'll get to them in episode 17. But yeah, thanks for watching this, guys. Appreciate the support and all the questions. And yeah, if you like this video, leave it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing and click that bell so you're notified for any future Q&As that we do. We do one of these basically every month, and yeah, they're a lot of fun. You guys ask all kinds of interesting stuff. But yeah, that's all I got for you again. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.